Jim Johnson as a senior who rocks.
Well, thank you, Ann, for such a kind introduction. I have to admit that when I found out that I was nominated, I was kind of stunned because I didn't know it was going on. But then I was also humbled. But to be honored by Pro Seniors is really a great thing for me because, first of all, I contribute every year, but then secondly, I found it to be a valuable tool for me. I mean, years ago I referred an older man who had issues with property, and Pro Seniors resolved it. I had a family member that had an issue with the VA and the Social Security system, and through Pro Seniors, his was resolved. People have asked me how in 1988 I was able to come up with the concept to start SWEL and how I was able to make it happen. And I tell them that it was just a convergence of just, it was like a magical time in the city of Cincinnati within the legal community where there was this interest through an organization called the Round Table that was convened by the Black Lawyers Association and the Cincinnati Bar Association. I had always mentored young people even before I became an attorney, but even as a prosecutor, sometimes a witness would come up and say, hey, my son, my daughter wants to be a lawyer, and can they shadow you? So I would have people shadowing me from when the Bar Association would do Law Day the first Friday in May. And I would always go to make sure that black and white kids could see an African American attorney, and I would have black and white kids who would follow me, shadow me for that day, and then some would come back later, Caucasian and black. So I went from 7 the first year to 16 the next year, and then 24 the following year. And in the first few years, people were coming to me to say, hey, we want to participate. And then in some cases where I needed a door opened, I would just call and say, hey, Judge Jones told me to call, because there's always a gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. And that was how I got past the gatekeepers. One of the things that I know I was asked to do was to come up with something, that inspired me, or a saying that I try to live by. And a number came to mind. But I guess I never really formalized it, or I never tried to formally think about why I do what I do. I just did it because I know the kind of support that I've had in my life. I grew up in the projects and downtown, and I remember, this 12-year-old kid in the 6:30 in the morning catching a bus to get to Walnut Hills High School in the 7th grade. So I remember those days. But I had a lot of people who inspired me along the way. But interestingly enough, a couple of weeks ago, I came across a saying by Nipsey Hussle, and it's Hussle, but I'm sure that, it was, because at first I thought it was Hustle, Hustle. And what he said was, the greatest human act is to inspire. And when I saw that, I just thought that summed up, I think, who I try to be, what I try to be is, and it's not necessarily to inspire people to become lawyers, but to inspire people to come up with their passion and their aspirations and helping them along their path to getting to where they want to be. And in some cases, I think SWEL's greatest success is people who decide not to go to law school because now that they've had a chance to take a look and they understand that whatever it is that they need to understand to come to the place of understanding that I'm really grateful for the experience I had, I'm grateful for the assistance in writing, I'm grateful in the opportunities to public speak, to do some kind of research and to have professional exposure. But I've decided that I don't want to be a lawyer, and I'm going to take these skills and then my aspirations take me elsewhere. And to me, that's a success.
I have breaking news. We have raised, oh my heavens, We are so close to $10,000 right now. We have raised $9,652.50. You all are a generous group of people. Thank you so much. And it's interesting, you are an inspiration to me and to pro seniors. And what I love about Mr. J, I'm going to call him Mr. J, even though I'm not a SWEL scholar, and Mr. J's motivation is the greatest human act is to inspire. So this is a wonderful evening. Everyone is so generous, but we have one more honoree. From the opening majestic pictures of Cincinnati and its artistic landmark to its smooth command, stay tuned. Showcase starts right now. You know you're going to learn something wonderful about Cincinnati when you watch any edition of CET's Showcase with Barbara Keller. Our last honoree, Barbara Weeks Keller, has hosted the weekly art show for over a decade and introduces viewers to guests who range from Fiona the Hippo with the Cincinnati Zoo's Christina Gorsuch, to Cincinnati Ballet's Servilio Amador, to restaurateur Jeff Ruby, 3 of her favorite interviews. Keller has won numerous awards for her roles at CET, including a Regional Emmy Award in 2018 for her coverage of Blink, Cincinnati's Light and Arts Festival. What every viewer can count on, as steadily as Keller's gorgeous brooches and pearls, is her absolute love and respect for arts in Cincinnati. She exudes adoration, and she and her husband have been longtime supporters, serving on boards, volunteering, and entertaining. And perhaps it was destiny, since the couple met on a Cincinnati ballet trip to Russia in 1973. Their daughter Ainsley danced with the Cincinnati Ballet, and their granddaughter Ava danced the role of Clara in 2012 and 2013 productions of The Nutcracker. In addition to their granddaughter's ballet performances, the Kellers attended swim meets and then cheered musical theater starring roles. They continued to be active grandparents. It's just a little bit longer distance now because Ava is at Trinity College. A lifelong Cincinnatian and graduate of the University of Cincinnati, Keller and her husband Larry are known for their generosity throughout the